Hi, welcome to call management training. In this training we will cover all the basic features that are provided by a call management product. To start with, you will notice on your desktop you will see a call management icon. You double click on that and you will see call management screen comes up. By default there is no username or password, so you just literally click login and you are presented with the main screen. Now right now we see a nice beautiful screen showing lots of information in there, which won't be the case when you first log in the product. So I'll unlock this dashboard and close all that, and we will try and recreate the same screen. Okay, so when you first log in you will notice that you'll be on the dashboard part here and you'll see some dashboard. So this area is the navigation area for the product, and it is displaying various sections available in this product: My Reports, Dashboards, Call Recordings, Business Analytics, Reports Catalog, Configuration, Help and Product Information. We'll start with Dashboards. Under Dashboards you have standard widgets, enhanced widgets, custom widgets. So let's have a look what's in there. You see some widgets in there. So these are some of the widgets that come in with the product. So let's try and run one of these. So if we run business summary, we'll notice it will refresh in 10 seconds. I'll bring it over here in the middle, and it shows you total calls, total answered, total missed, and total outgoing. So what a widget is just a reportlet which shows you some information about your call management system. And this one, for example, is showing you a business summary: total calls, total answered, missed, and outgoing. So each of these widgets contain a set of information that is coming from the calls that you have made. For example, this is a DDI grid. So this widget will show you a summary about DDIs, and as we can see, it shows you the DDI name, total number of calls that you've received on that DDI, incoming answered, incoming unanswered, average ring time, and average talk time. So another one, for example, hourly call distribution, and you can see that this one will show us hour by hour how many calls we're taking. So idea is that you will run some of these which are relevant for your business. So let's say we've run a DDI grid, then we can say we do want a group wallboard, which is a wallboard based on your ACD group. Let's say put a nice big wallboard here. Then let's say you want GOS monitor, which is just grade of service. Okay, 49%, and a top agent who's taking maximum calls today. So let's say that's how you want to display it. So you do all that, and then you can literally right click and you can lock your dashboard. So it takes away those Windows screens, and you've got a nice clean dashboard here. On the wallboards, additionally, what you can do is you can set the colors, background and the font color. You can enable alarms on this. So for example, let's try one on calls waiting. Alarm settings, you can say enable this alarm if calls are more than 5 calls waiting, and the alarm should be critical if there are more than 16 calls waiting, and I'll just make it 12. And these are the colors, so you can select other colors as well if you want to. Let's select one here, let's say yellow, and you say okay. So as soon as it's hit that critical alarm figure, it's there. As soon as it hits 12, it will become critical alarm. It will start flashing the actual color of the box. Here we go, it's flashing the color. Okay, going back to that alarm setting screen again, you can actually set it to send an email out as well as soon as it hits the critical alarm. Let's cancel that now, and everything. You don't need that alarm. You can simply disable it without losing all your settings. At least it will stop working. Okay, right, so that's our dashboard. Now dashboard doesn't really stop here. What you can do is you can run any of our reports from our reports catalog, and any information that you see on those reports can be converted into a little reportlet called widget, and it could be placed on your dashboard, refreshing every few seconds that you can define. So we will come back to that process of creating a new widget when we cover our reports catalog. Currently, let's move on to call recordings part. So if you purchase the call recording with the product, you will notice that this section will be available, as well as you can click here and you will see some calls. So all these are your recorded calls, and all you need to do to play a call is just click on play and it starts playing the call. You can export this as a WAV file. You can close it. So what you notice is they're not just one playlist, they're more than one. So first one is all calls, which is the one I've just ran. This is showing you all the calls for today. You can go in and change it for yesterday, this week, last week, etc. Then you've got the start time, end time, and you've got all these filters, quite self-explanatory. For example, you can say I only want calls which have a minimum duration of 5 minutes, or any calls that start with number 078, and just click refresh and you'll see only 078 or 07, so feel free to write whatever you like. So that's your refresh area. Then obviously you can play a call, email a call, so you just click on email, send to, put a message, a subject, and click send. Then you've got call evaluation. So within this product, you've got capability to evaluate these calls. Let's try and do one. Okay, when I click on this call, you can see this one's already been evaluated, and we've given some marks on each of these questions. So let's try another one, and as you can see, these, because you've got a plus sign, that means the call's been evaluated, and this one is not evaluated. So I just clicked on that, and I'll go on to the call evaluation, and it's not evaluated. So on this call, let's say I'm going to assign some marks here. So what I'm doing here is, the first question, was company greeting used? And I've just said yes, and it's a yes and no type question. Then you've got how welcoming did the agent sound? Now this is a grading type question, how welcoming, 10 out of 8 out of 10. So you can give that. How engaging was the conversation? So again, a grading question. Other questions like, did the agent try and upsell? So that's straight yes and no. Was there any attempt on cross-selling? Yes or no. And as you can notice, as I'm marking these questions, the average rating for this agent for this particular call, as well as his total score for this call, is changing, as you can see right now. So once it's done that, you click update, and this call has been evaluated right now. Further from here, we've got the whole reporting in our reporting catalog around this area, where you can then run reports to say if some of your agents required particular training in one of these areas, and as a business how well we are doing on cross-selling do we have our agents trying to do that, for example. Also, it doesn't stop here, because these questions might not be relevant for you. So what you can do is you can click on any of these questions, and you can set your own questions. Literally type any question here, and you can say whether it's a yes and no type question, or whether it's a 0 to 10 type question, or you can even disable this question, and you just click OK, and you'll have the question changed. Okay, and then I'll click update, and we close this form. And now you will notice if I refresh that, this call's been evaluated as well. So in here you've got a filter to see only evaluated or only non-evaluated calls, both incoming, outgoing calls that you can stick to. You've got various filters here. Then you've got details. So let's try and go back to both, and on this call again, let's try and look at call details screen. So in this screen you can actually assign a result for this call. Was it a complaint, a non-sales call, customer feedback, abusive caller, or satisfactory call, unsatisfactory call? You can assign a flag, or you can type a tag to say tag 1 2 3 4 5 6, and you can click update, and this will get updated for this call. All these drop downs that you are currently looking, they are completely configurable. So you just click here and you can add, edit or delete these. Same applies to the call feedback, customer feedback. You can change it here. Okay, let's close that, refresh that, and you'll notice the tag we assigned is also here. You can search on tags as well. So you can say I want a call which has got this tag. So once you've assigned it, we'll untick that for now, and we've got all our calls again. And this is where save profile comes in. So maybe you only want to look at non-evaluated calls, so you can evaluate those, and they should be starting from 07 as a number, or maybe not number but extension or DDI. Let's say any call that comes on your sales line that needs to be evaluated, we'll put 478851, refresh that, and you will see currently we've got both, and we can say some of them are evaluated, some of them are not. So let's say we only got non-evaluated, refresh. So what you can do with save profile is you've said for today this DDI only non-evaluated. I'm going to save this as my calls to eval. Click OK, and there's a new playlist added. So when you log in next time, you will see this playlist. When you click on this, it already knows what you're looking for. So you don't have to go in and set your filters. It just gives you what you need to look at. And you can go in there, evaluate this call, update that call, done, close that, refresh that, and that call disappears because it's not needed anymore. And this will keep shrinking as we move forward. What you can also do here is delete a playlist. So if you're not happy with that, you can just click delete, and it's been removed. So now we move on from call recordings to reports catalog. We'll come back to business analytics a bit later on. Let's look at the reports catalog here. Now we've got lots of reports here: standard, enhanced, and call recording reports. Let's look at some of these. Here we've got a daily interval report, for example. So in here, you click on that report and it comes up with a report, gives you a little summary at the top and the details at the bottom. So right now, because it's only running for 1 day, it's given you only 1 day's details, but you can click there and it takes you to the filter tab. You can, while you're on the report page, just literally go here and move on the filter tab. You can say I want last 7 days, click refresh, and it gives you last 7 days. So here what you will notice is all the reports will have the same framework, that they will have a summary, details, then you will have a chart if there's a relevant chart available for that report, and then filters. Within filters you'll have the date and time at the top, and then you will have extensions, groups, DDI campaigns, call types, and some other relevant filters based on that report available over here. So for example, if I want this to run only for some extensions, I can literally select those, put them as selected extensions, refresh report, and then these calls are only for those extensions now. So you can go through any filters. Okay, right at the top, another thing that's common in all the reports are save. You click on save and it allows you to save the report. Email, you click on email, you can type the email addresses, comma delimited, subject, any message that you want to send with this report, then you can send it as Excel, CSV, HTML, TXT file, or a PDF file. And then you've got option to say I want to send it just now, straight away, or if you want to schedule it to send it daily, weekly, or monthly. So you can select something like I want to send it every week and on every Wednesday. So you've got all these options there, or monthly on the first day of the month, or the second day of the month, or the 15th day of the month. Or you can simply choose to send now. It won't schedule it, it will just literally send the report out as an email. Then we've got print. You can click on print, select your printer, and then print it. Cancel that. Then you've got option to add it to my reports. When you click there, it says okay, we've done some stuff here, we've selected some filters here, haven't we? Last 7 days, and only for these extensions that are selected. We could do more filtering here, and then you can say this is my daily interval for sales team, and you can say report added successfully. So what this is doing is it's adding it to my reports, and you can see the name we gave has come up over here. And I can close this report. I'll close this dashboard just for the clarity for now. Let's close that. So when I click on this report, it comes up straight with the report. When we go in filters, what we're noticing is it's gone back to its last 7 days. It's selected the extensions you wanted, so it's remembering what you want to do. So any report, you can select all the filters, all the options that you want to select, and then literally save it as my report. So you don't have to every single time go in and go through the filters. You can literally have the reports that you need listed over here under my reports, and that's where you'll spend your time running reports instead of going into reports catalog where you've got literally hundreds of reports. So the theme is followed. We will have another tutorial which will go through all these literally hundreds of reports one by one, but in this section where we're doing a brief overview, we will only go through some reports. Another good one here is extension summary. This report gives you the extension by extension summary, showing you which extension, username, how many calls they've made, average talk time, outgoing calls, national, international, total cost, total incoming, total number of unanswered calls, and all that. And at the top you've got a summary bar which tells you total calls, total incoming, total missed, and total outgoing. Then you've got some relevant charts and filters. So one of the options at the top was to create a new widget. So in this report we'll try and create a new widget. You could still use add to my report section and you can add a new report. Let's try and create a widget here. So what create a widget does is you can say this is my extension summary. You can still put any filters you like if you only want it for a few extensions. So you want for Simon, Jonathan, switchboard, Matthew. You've selected a few extensions that you want to use, and you want it for last 7 days, let's say. Yes, create widget, and or even this week. Let's do this week. And you want it refreshing every 5 seconds, and you want it the details. You don't want to see all that. Let's say you just want to see some of this stuff, not all of it. Or see incoming calls or missed calls. Okay, so you can untick some of the stuff you don't want. You don't want extension, you just want the username. And you can say create a new widget. It says new widget added successfully. So what this has done in the background is under your custom widgets, my extension summary widgets appeared. When you click on that, you will notice, refresh every 5 seconds, the extensions we selected have come up, and only the fields that we selected have come up. You've got a nice little widget here that you can run. You can resize it to whatever size you like and have it running. and it's refreshing every 5 seconds. So as they make new calls, they will keep appearing here, and that could become part of your wallboard now. So I'll close that. Let's go back to our reports catalog, and we'll try and run another one with, let's say, all into it. Now here you've seen summary, details and chart. I don't think we probably want to do is go back to create widget. We've got a few more options here. Let's say I want hourly interval as a chart, and I want it only for my DDI or my, you can select any filters, and you, let's say you only want for incoming calls, you don't care about any of the other calls. And refresh report, and if this is the report, and you can say then, and I would like it as a chart, and I want it for total calls, and I'll just, so that's clear which one it is, I'll call it my hourly interval. Refresh every 2 seconds, you can put any value, add that, and what you will notice under dashboard, got a new widget, my hourly interval, and this will be a chart, and here we go. And this chart is now based on the filters that we've used and showing the number of calls. So let's go back to the report catalog again, and let's look at another report here. Let's say we look at DDI summary. So now this is showing all these DDIs, how many calls they've had and all that. So let's say we want only for 024, which is on call network or head of finance. Let's try and restrict some to some DDI. Let's say we want head of finance, and we want these two DDIs. Refresh report. So you can see summary at the top and the report here. And we want to create a new widget, but this time we'll create from the summary. Now summary was this part right at the top, and you will see that, and we want it refreshing every 5 seconds. So we select 5 seconds, and we've got all the fields available here, and let's say we want to show it as a wallboard. So select that, and we'll click add widget, and this is a DDI summary widget which comes up here. There we go, a nice wallboard. Once you've got the wallboard, of course you can set colors here to say what color you would like to have on all these boxes. Set font color. You can define the colors, and of course you can go in and set alarms. Hide and hide caption, which is just a caption over here. If I hide it, it will disappear, or if I show caption, it will appear again. So again, you create a nice little wallboard for yourself here. And it's all scalable, so depending on the size of the wallboard, the size of the font or the text size will change. So if I go like that, it will keep increasing the size, and I can make it as small as I like. Okay, moving on. Then we've got some enhanced reports around ACD group summary, agent analytics. So here's one, agent status summary. So this report shows you each agent on each day, how much time they were logged in and how much time they spent on D&D. Of course you've got the same filters. You can go last 7 days if you want to. It gives you last 7 days what's been going on in terms of time available and total time in D&D. Again, you can create widget out of it if you want to. So all those options remain exactly the same, the email, act my reports, and saving it. And then we'll go on to some of the call recording reports. As we remember, we evaluated some of the calls. So if you're on a call evaluation summary now it's showing you all these questions that we can define. How many calls were evaluated, what's the total score, and what's the average score. And we can see right at the top, in using the company greeting, we're doing really well, and in terms of on scale of 10, how well were customer expectations met, we're really doing poorly. and did the agent understand the customer's reason for calling we're doing poorly. So we can figure out as a business where we're doing well and where we're doing poorly. Also, we can do evaluation summary for an agent to see what's the average score for these three agents, to see who's performing better and who's performing poorly. Or we can do a detailed evaluation of each agent. So we can then say that, okay, this guy did pretty much okay on some of these things, but this is where he was doing poorly. So we can figure out which area he needs to be trained on. That's called recording reports. Okay, we'll close that. Close some of these reports. Right, the next part is the configuration. The system is very much a self-learning system. In the configuration area, you've got your extensions, DDIs, ACD groups, trunks, sites, and customers. It learns extensions automatically. So as soon as you make a call, it will learn it. What you can do here is that you can go in, you can assign a user to that extension, an email address for him. If you're a multi-site organization, you can assign as one of the sites. You can group them by division, departments, and cost centers. And once they're grouped, in the reporting area, you can utilize that grouping to run reports. For example, if we do an hourly interval report, we can go in filters and we can say, I want to run it not for all divisions but only for HR. And because you've grouped few extensions in HR, it will automatically run it for you, only for those extensions. Going back to configuration again, and division, department, cost centers, and click on one of those, gives you a list of divisions that you've currently got, and you've got option to add, delete, or edit one of these divisions. Same applies throughout the product. For example, DDIs, it automatically fills the DDIs and puts the name as just unknown and the DDI number because it doesn't know the name. Or you can go in and literally edit that and say this is main sales line. Click update and comes up with a name. Same applies to ACD groups. It picks up your ACD groups. What it doesn't know is what the name of the group is. So you can go in and you can name the groups. Trunks and sites. Again, it learns the trunks automatically. It's not the area which many users would spend time on, but if you want to, what you can do is you can go in and edit that. Sites, you can add new sites if you're a multi-site organization. Customer directory. So this is where you can go in and add new customers. And you can say this is the number and this is the name of the company and the contact name. And once you've done that, you can run some customer-based reports. So going back to report catalog, you would see there's customer reports. That's done a customer summary. It tells you this number, we could assign that number to a name, how many calls were made to that number. So if you had defined that number to a customer, that name would appear here. Close that. Going back to configuration again. Then you've got the logins area. So I'll minimize that. In here you can create usernames and passwords. So like when we started the training, we said there's no username or password defined when the system is first installed, but you can create a username and password. Once you've done that, you won't be able to log in without that username and password. And you can create multiple usernames and passwords. And if you've got call recordings, then you can assign permissions to those users to play a certain call. So we'll look at that. So let's add a user. We will add a user called CMS. CMS, and we'll say administrator, add, and close. So what we can do now is You can select that user and we can say allow him to play these calls. So any call that finishes on these extensions won't be playable by user CMS, but they will be able to play calls from these extensions. Click apply changes and that's done. Close. What you can also do is restrict some DDIs. So even if someone has got permissions to play a call on an extension, they won't be able to play a call if it's on a restricted DDI. So let's say if a call comes in on one of the directors DDI and you don't want anyone to play it, even if he's taken that call and then transferred it to someone else, you can simply go in and add a DDI to say this is my director's DDI, nobody in the business should be allowed to play this call. So put that in and we close that. But what you can do is if your director himself wants to play that call, you can create him his own username and password, and then you can say this DDI he can play, assign him, apply changes. Done. So the permissions for call recording are twofold: one at the extension level and secondly at the DDI level. Okay, next section. Then we've got some system settings here. So you can put your SMTP server details, which will be used for sending emails out. There's a helpful test button here. You can click that button to check if these details will allow you to send those reports out or not. And this is your default target response time, how quickly you want to answer those calls. Now this is really helpful when, let's show you example here. So if we go in here and run grade of service monitor, let's say. So what you'll notice is only 49% of the calls have been answered within 15 seconds mark, because this is our target. If we increase that 15 to, let's say, 50, and what you will notice is that needle will shoot up, as we see now, 79%. Or if you make it back to 2 seconds, that needle will go back down, and you'll see only 21% of the calls been answered in 2 seconds. So you can decide that time based on what your organizational needs are, what sort of SLAs you're providing to your customers, and you can set it up so all the reports, all the widgets, all the dashboards will start working and showing you figures based around that. Okay, we won't go into backup and archiving the call recordings because that will be covered in a separate tutorial. We would look at alarm settings here. The very basic, simple settings. We've got system alarms which can send emails out and restart some of our services if you're not receiving data from the phone system or if you're not recording calls. So all we need to know is what's your business working hours. So you can say we work from 9 in the morning to 5 in the evening, and that's it. And you can define whether you work on weekends or not. Now it will be helpful if you set it correctly, because if you set a wider range and the alarms will kick in and will restart services for no reason if you set up at the times when you're actually not making calls. So make sure you set the start time to be maybe even up 10-15 minutes after when your business starts. Okay, close that. Then we've got scheduled tasks. So any reports you schedule, they will appear here. You can see the IDs and the names of schedules, when were they run last time and when they will run next time. You can delete some of these scheduled tasks if you don't need those reports to be done again. Then we have a notification framework which can send out some notifications at midnight every day, and it's a weekly notification as well. So if you want those notifications, you can allow that and put an email address here. For all these notifications to work, you need to make sure you go into the system settings, which is over here, and make sure the email SMTP details are set up and software is able to send reports out. And then you can schedule archiving of call recordings if you are worried about your hard drive getting full up, or if you want to just back them up. You can use a screen. You can enable a backup. It could be a daily, monthly or quarterly backup, and simply click OK and provide a location and you're done.